hello. Hello, I'm Marshall Goldsmith, and welcome to LinkedIn Live. We have a wonderful show today. Let me briefly introduce myself for those of you I have not met. I'm going to introduce my comrade and then our special guest. I'm Marshall. I'm from Kentucky, went to school in Indiana, got a PhD at UCLA. I was a college professor and dean when I was young, and then for 43 years, I've traveled around the world giving talks and teaching classes for leaders. I've been an executive coach to a lot of great leaders from around the world, the CEOs of Ford and Pfizer and Glaxo and the World Bank and all kinds of wonderful people. And I've learned so much from them. I write and edit books and articles. And then I've got a project I'm working on called 100 Coaches, which is just spectacular. In this project, we've recruited some of the top great people in the world. And we have 3 rules: no money, no guilt, no expectation. And everybody as part of this project just gives to others, and the only price is when you get old, you have to give back. And 2 of the wonderful members of our group are with us today, Sanyin Siang and Pau Gasol. And before I get started, let's hear from my good comrades. Sanyin, tell us who you are.
Hello, everyone. Hi, everyone. I'm Sanyin Siang, and I'm a very proud recipient of the first Marshall Goldsmith, Thinkers 50 Marshall Goldsmith Coaching and Mentoring Award, recognizing the world's #1 executive coach. And so as that, I work with leaders and help leaders in their organizations thrive in times of uncertainty through reimagining the future and through building stronger teams. I work with CEOs, board directors, military generals, and sports industry executives. I am also the executive director at Duke University's Buchwald Coach K Center on Leadership and Ethics, and I'm also a mom. And now, very important, throughout the show, because it's live, we want you, if you have questions or you have thoughts, please put it into comments. We will be monitoring those, and there'll be a point later on in the show where we'll be able to draw on those questions for Pal and Marshall and me to be able to answer. And also very important, if you like the different comments you're hearing throughout different parts of the show. So for example, if Marshall breaks into song, just hit that love button, okay? So back to you, Marshall.
And if you don't like something, keep it to yourself.
You can still hit that love button too.
We've got a wonderful special guest, Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol is just a great guy. Pau, NBA All-Star potential, not a potential, almost certainly going to be in the NBA Hall of Fame, National Basketball Association, Spanish Olympian. You know, Pau, I don't know if I told you this, but I was there for one of your great games, Game 7, when the Lakers defeated the Celtics for the national championship. I was there. I paid $1,000 for the seat. My son and I, Brian, were there. We just had a great time. More important, though, he's just a great human being. He's working right now on something called the Gasol Foundation with his brother. They're helping people. It's just amazing. And so really looking forward, Pau, to working with you today. And we've got some questions that have already come in from some special guests. Sanyin, before we get started on the serious part of our business here, Shane Battier, did you have a little question for Pau?
Yeah, so Shane is a great friend of both Pau's and mine. And multi-time national championship. And Shane's question, very important. Actually, he has 2 questions, but this one is the most important. Okay. So, Pal, what teammate has the best combination of good looks and intelligence?
Well, first of all, thanks so much for having me, and then I'll go to Shane's question. And it's a pleasure to be here with you today. And directing Shane's question, Shane's biggest attribute, besides his intellect and his looks, is his sense of humor. So he's a very witty, funny guy. And I love Shane. He was incredible support for me when I came into the league. We both got drafted the same year, in 2001, and played for the Grizzlies for years. And we helped, I think, kind of relaunch that franchise We're part of that process of that franchise really becoming competitive and kind of settled in a new city, because that was the first year that the Grizzlies went from Vancouver to Memphis, Tennessee. Quite a change there, and so yeah, Shane is one of the top ones, one of those guys that has the looks and but more importantly the intellect, which I think number one, it's up there, it's in the top three, it's in the podium. Let's say it's in the podium. I meant it's up there. Yeah, you could tell I said that. He's one of a kind. I love Shane.
Now, Pal, on a more serious note, you're the president and one of the co-founders of the Gasol Foundation with your brother Mark. I love what you guys are doing. I think it's critically important.
Thank you.
Our viewers probably don't know all about it. Just take a little bit and tell us about the foundation, what you're doing, and then Sanyin's going to get into why it's so important right now.
Well, it's extremely important right now, but I'll tell you a little bit about the process of how we kind of created the Gasol Foundation. It started really in 2011 when we wanted to do something together to have our own foundation. I've been a Goodwill ambassador for UNICEF since 2003, and I've done many trips with UNICEF. Now with the work of the Gasol Foundation since 2013. We have done, I think, a lot of great work in Spain and here in the US, but now more than ever, because of the COVID pandemic, I think our knowledge and our content and our programs are more important than ever. And there's an incredible need and urgency to make sure we emphasize healthy habits, the importance of healthy habits and the health of our children, especially the ones from the most vulnerable families and communities in the world. So we have to, the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic has hit us very hard, has forced us to change our way of life. We have been confined and sheltering in place, and those families that kids now cannot go to school, cannot receive those meals that they were receiving at home. They need to be fed. Those families that maybe a parent or both parents have lost their jobs and they find themselves under tremendous stress to continue to go forward and to have a healthy environment at home. Now, it's important that we reach out to them. We're being extremely active and proactive now, adjusting and sending and creating a lot of video content. So we can get those videos, those healthy habits messages to them at their homes. Again, there's a tremendous amount of need. The COVID pandemic is going to have tremendous consequences, not just at the health level. They don't talk about just a health crisis, but they also talk about a humanitarian crisis and a human rights crisis, for that matter. So we have to be really aware of that, because the consequences could be really, really grave, and they're very hard to grasp for us right now. Emotionally, those kids and those families are going to be affected. They talk about the levels of depression really increasing through this time and causing a permanent damage and people. Levels of numbers of suicides going up, number of abuses at homes going up. And the potential kind of peak increase on the levels of childhood obesity at home. So, they're already very high around the world. So again, we really have to be proactive as far as really emphasizing on the importance of building healthy routines at home, providing tools for those families to function in a positive, constructive way. And right now we're working on a lot of partnerships to make sure that we are helping our families get healthy meals for those kids and those adults to be fed. So again, a lot of work. It's unfortunate what we're going through, but it does present an opportunity to really step up and help out and do whatever we can to provide an essential need and cover an essential need right now.
So Pau, the crisis, COVID, as you said, has basically exacerbated every fault line in our society today. And so that's why the work of the Gasol Foundation in terms of healthy habits, eating, moving, physical activity, and family involvement is more important than ever. Now, you had said we can all step up. For all the viewers out there, can you share with us how we can all step up and help?
I think we all we